And on today's agenda, we're going to build an automatic wood farm. See, wood is extremely valuable in the early game, an absolute pain to get hold of, and we always find that we're constantly running out of it and also constantly in need of it. So yeah, we're going to build a wood farm. More specifically, we're going to build Dusty Dude's absolutely ultimate crazy 4-tree type wood farm. But before we get to that, I've got a couple of updates for you. So I have been really busy gathering this amount of resources that I can use to build the tree farm. And as part of that I needed slime and honey blocks. So I've located and dug out this slime block here. And I've also set up this bee sanctuary behind us in order to get the honey. And finally I have moved and organised all of our resources from our starter base and the ones that were dotted around here into this new chest area. Nothing automatic for now, but it should do us the job until I sort out some sort of sorting system. And while I've been doing that, Erica Janey has been working on wait for it, this floating island. How cool does this look? Honestly, this is so awesome. Obviously there's some scaffolding going on at the moment, so some of this stuff is yet to be removed because she's still working on it, but I really love this. I really love this. I mean, she's got her first house sorted out on here already, and then I think that she was also started work on a bridge over here, which is in the making. I may be in trouble for showing that off a bit early, but we'll find out. And yeah, if we just fly away and turn back on this, I think it looks fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this build develops above what we're going to do down on the floor here at some point later in the season. And in addition to all of that, there have also been various trades going on. So for example, I did trade a lot of the deep slate I've been mining from down here for rockets, and I also traded to get some of the resources I needed in order to build the wood farm. And on the note of trading, that brings me to the second reason I want to work on the wood farm today, because I'm planning to open a wood store and get the shopping district underway. Oh, I just realised I totally haven't mentioned also the addition of a stone generator. Nothing too fancy, but this back here is just hopefully to help generate enough stone that Erica Janey can keep working on the floating islands. And I think that just about covers the update, so let's get to work on the wood farm. A link to the original tutorial video and a materials list will be found in the description. So the first task is making sure you've got enough space. Now I've watched the tutorial a couple of times and I'm sort of guesstimating this one, but I reckon you're talking about like sort of 20 odd blocks long, and I think it was like 13 or something, or slightly longer wide, but ultimately I've given myself enough room and placed it somewhere that I can make adjustments to the surrounding areas to make it fit if I need to. So first up we need to pillar up 3 and then place a dropper facing upwards and then a dispenser facing towards me, and that's going out towards the long direction. Then we make a small staircase off the back, a bit like this, and a pair of observers both facing into that block. Nope, and then we're going to take this one back out and face it the other way to create a... oh, no, not that way. This way to create an observer clock. And there you have it, folks. No, I'm joking. We have a long way to go yet. So behind the second observer, dig down 1 block and then add a sticky piston. Then dig another 2 back, and we've run out of space already. 1 sec. Well, the tutorial says to dig out 2, but then to add a building block here, but we're going to use deep slate as our building blocks anyway, so I'm just going to put that one back in. Then you just add a redstone torch to power the piston. And before we go any further, we need to just power this block. That turns off the clock, preventing any lag and the clock just going round and round forever for no apparent reason until we're a little bit further. Next we need to head back up to the area we're going to be growing the trees. I'm just going to add some temporary blocks in because I'm in survival. And as the player we need to be stood 3 back and then 1 below. So there. Then we just take out the 2 additional blocks that we don't need. Now we're going to put a dropper that faces towards us, and this is going to be the one that chucks all of the saplings and other drops from the trees back into us while we're stood here. Which means next up we need to lay a lot of hoppers in order to collect those drops. So 2 out from the dropper, and then I said droppers again, didn't I? I meant hoppers. I always say like dropper instead of hopper. I don't know why. I probably should sort that out. You know, not particularly useful when you're watching a redstone video. Anyway, back to the hoppers. So these need to come too wide and wrap all the way around to almost where I'm standing. Hold on. I think it's about there. Might need to go one further actually. Yeah. Like that. But you need to stop when you get to the dropper because we actually need a different line of hoppers coming out this way. And that's because this is going to carry our bone meal from this chest into the dropper that's going to feed it to the dispenser and then out to our sapling. Next we just continue placing hoppers the other side if I can move some of these lush cave vines, as pretty as they look. There we go. And we need these ones to feed all the way back to... Where did that go? Okay, I've played... Oh, lovely. How helpful. Yeah, I was saying, we need these ones to feed all the way back here till it's kind of in line with the staircase. Oh no, one in line with the second part of the staircase. Next, we're going to place some redstone dust in on the staircase blocks, and then we're going to wrap the hoppers around the back and over the top of the observer. And now we can fill in the rest, but it's very important that we put our hoppers facing in the correct direction. So they need to be feeding into this same line and not into this line for the bone meal that we did a little bit earlier. So like this. And if you are at all confused about what directions your hoppers should be facing in, it should look like what you can see here. Next, we need to place a furnace on top of the dropper next to where the player will be standing. That's because this is a non-movable block. Then just add a redstone torch onto the side of it, like that. Now, if you stand where the player is standing and hold shift, you can add a repeater and another repeater facing towards where the tree will be growing. Now we can work on the platform we're going to be standing on. So if you take out any of the temporary blocks that you've got already, place one underneath the dropper, then two out from the dropper, and then another two and another two going back. So you've got a set of 6. And walk round towards the side and start creating a slightly lower platform. It should look like this. Next, we're putting a lever on the middle block on the lower platform. This is going to be our on-off switch for the farm. And now we need to dig a tunnel from underneath of that on-off switch. All the way back to the observers. And this is where I realise I have made a small mistake so far, which is that the piece that's coming out the back next to the sticky piston is actually meant to be coming out of the side towards the on-off switch. So if we knock this block out, put this one back in, pick up this lever, put the lever on this side, and then also take the torch and put the torch on the side there, and switch that on. So now the two should sort of, well, I say be linked up. There's no redstone in place yet, but you should have a small trench that runs from the back towards that on-off switch at the front. And as you probably guessed, we're going to lay redstone from underneath there all the way towards the back. Now get rid of this lever and go over here and switch this one on instead. Next job, build the leaf crushers. So if you're standing on the platform with the on-off switch to your left and this in front of you, you go to the right and come back 1, 2 and 3, then up 1 and back out another 1. Then if we move around the front of this, we need to lay 2 sticky pistons like that. We need to lay 6 pairs of them. Oh, that's definitely too high. We'll definitely need to use some temporary blocks for this, similar to what I'm doing now. So standing on top of the dispenser in the middle, it should look something like this. I have a sneaking suspicion that my room might not be tall enough. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Next, we can get rid of the 2 blocks directly underneath and then replace these with actual proper blocks, because they're not meant to be temporary ones, but I didn't realise. And now we can start with laying slime. So you need 5 in a row coming back this way. So if you were standing in the farm, they would be behind you, going across past behind the furnace. And now we just alternate the slime with honey. So like this, and then this. Oh, not like that. Yep, height is already a problem, it would appear. 1 second. That's a bit better. And with one of them in and a bit more of the ceiling cleared out the way, it now looks like this. So next up, when facing the leaf crusher, on the left hand side, on each slime, place a redstone block. And then on everything else, place an open fence gate. You may need to pillar up slightly in order to do this. And now that this thing is starting to take some shape, I'm beginning to realise that, for me, this farm is not in the orientation or the way around that I wanted it to be. So as it currently stands, the other leaf crusher would go this side, the element pushing the leaf would go behind me where that bone meal chest is, and then the collection would be behind me there. I actually want the collection to be spanning out into that direction. So I'm very quickly just going to swap all of this round. And with the magic of editing, problem solved. And now we have the leaf crusher on one side, we now need to build the same thing on the other side. So if you just come to the hopper on the back, go off of that by 1 block, up by 1 block, and off the back of that again by 1 block, we can start building up our piston wall on top of this here. And when you're done with that, take out the 3 temporary blocks we used to start placing that wall. And as you might have guessed in terms of what comes next, we're now going to lay 2, 3, 4, 5. And alternate that slime to honey, slime to honey. With all the slime and honey in, we now need to place the fence gates. The only difference being on this one, we don't need any redstone blocks. So literally just lay fence gates on every single one of these blocks. And that should be both leaf crushers in, which means we can now work on the bit for when a tree actually grows. So if you head back underneath at the bone meal chest end, and then just put a sticky piston facing yourself underneath the dirt block. Then place a redstone block on the front face and add a block to receive the signal 1 block away. Then we need to extend that both to the left and to the right, ready to pass this signal to each arm on each side of the farm. That was a nice little rhyme. Each end of this should be in line with the piston at the back, and then you want to go 1 further and 1 up, and then we can take out this block here. Then we want to do the same thing at the other end. And now we can lay redstone dust all the way along, and repeaters facing into the blocks at each end, ready to pass the redstone signal up. And in order to pass it up, we now need to make a glass staircase that is going to take the signal up to our leaf crusher arms. So the quickest way to do this, I would suggest, is off the side, so coming out towards the back, towards the bone meal chest, add a temporary block, then lay your first block of glass on top, then another temporary block, then just add glass to the side and on top, and repeat the process. Then just keep doing this until you're 1 from the top. So, oh, 1 more to go. Hold on. I can't jump again. And in case that was confusing, I mean here. And now we're at the top, place a furnace on the slime, and then some building blocks extending back towards the glass staircase. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. And redstone to run around the outside. And now what you need to do is remove the temporary blocks and run redstone down the glass staircase. I suppose at least we can bunch out the blocks more easily from here. Then we're going to scaffold back up And repeat that platform process for every level with slime. So here and here. Add the platform. Repeater 4, repeater 2, and redstone. Then down. And same thing again. And that should be one whole arm in and completed. And we can test that by literally just chucking down a lever where this redstone block would push out to, turning that on. And you should see that it all pushes out. So now all we have to do is repeat everything we did there, just on the other side. So again, come over this way, place a block to the... Oh, hold on, which one was first? Yeah, place a block on the top. Then place glass to the side, glass above, block on top, glass side, glass above. Do that till you get to the top. Then furnace on the slime layer and building blocks. Oh, lost my repeaters. Set to 4 and 2. And then of course redstone around the edges. And then we repeat for, well, do the staircase. And repeat for each layer. I am going to take this out though, just to create some more room while we're here. In fact, this is going to serve as a great way to complete the staircase, because I can just drop myself down like this. And then just add the redstone back in. This has worked out well. And of course, we then just pillar back up and then create those platform layers again for each one where there's slime. And once you're done, give it a quick test again to make sure both are working. Just like that. Now we're going to add logs on top of this set of hoppers here that go from the bone meal chest, so that none of the drops from the trees when the crashes go end up falling into those hoppers and spitting out spitting out drops instead of bone meal. Then next we're going to add a glass block here and then stack up 5 logs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we need to scaffold our way up 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this could be a problem. Okay, I need to clear a little bit more of the ceiling. Bear with me. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then on the 9th block, place a block. And that is going to limit the height of our tree. And I'm going to add some lights up here as well, just to try and keep things nice and bright. Although it's not technically part of the tutorial as such, so it's probably not necessary. And with that in place, we now need to add the double piston extender that's going to be at the back, that's going to actually push the tree along. So we're just going to add a couple of blocks here, and then place pistons like this. And again, we're going to build this 6 high. And of course, then take out the blocks below. And then to hook this up, we're going to need to place a block out here in line with the redstone behind where we had the lever before. And we're going to place a repeater on that with a 3 tick delay. And just like we did with the arms, we're now going to create another glass staircase. So we're going to have 2 building blocks up, take out the bottom one. So if we start on here and begin by laying your temporary block, glass to the side, glass above, and then repeat the process, just like we did on the last one. And then we just need to lay the redstone dust, taking the signal, well, up, but we're actually going down. And in a similar fashion to before, we can test all of it's working by just laying a lever next to that, switching that on, and everything should push forwards. The next thing we need to work on is hooking up this dropper so that it shoots all of the tree drops back into the player when they're stood here. So in order to do that, the first thing we need to do is drop down around the back, come down 1 block here, and then run this along underneath. Then just place redstone back across the top of them. And this circuit is also going to power this piston. And with all of that redstone in place, we can go ahead and start working on the collection system. So first up, we're just going to add a wall in here. Which is going to cover up all of our redstone. And then we're going to start placing the catchment area, which is going to be 5 wide. So starting here in line with the dropper that's going to face into the player, we want to come out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come out that side. So it should be a 5 block space. And then we're going to make it 8 long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And with the collection area laid out, we should now be able to place in our water sources at the top here. There should be 1 for every row at the back. And it should run all the way along to the end. And this area is going to catch any of the logs once they've been blown up by the TNT part that we yet to make, catch them, push them along into hoppers and chests down the end. And because the output of this farm is quite fast, we're going to actually need to have 2 different collection points. So once the water is in line with the end block, if you come out at a diagonal and mine 2 and place a pair of chests, and then the same on the other side. Then we dig out this row at the end. And then on the side that we stand, we're adding in 4 hoppers. And the opposite side, we're adding in 3. And then we can go ahead and close all of this off. Oh. Then in order to contain all of the drops from the trees, it's useful to add in leaf blocks. So start by adding another layer of building blocks, leaving a slot in order for the tree to be pushed through. And then just build up walls of leaves that are in line with the fence gates and go all the way to the top of each of the leaf crushers. So it should now be looking something along the lines of this. And then we're going to do that on the back as well, in line with the first piston. So we just do that, and then I'm going to kind of scaffold my way up here with some leaves and start adding these in. And of course you need the same thing on the other side. And if I'm right, that is now the tree part of the farm done, so now we need to work on the TNT. So on the side of the farm with the on and off switch, where the hopper is, count 1, 2 and 3 back, go up 2 blocks, and then place an obsidian on the side of that block. Take out the temporary blocks, add a building block, get on top of the obsidian, and pillar up 12 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm at 5. Yep, we're definitely going to have to clear more of the ceiling. So if we try that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and oh, one more, 12. And now at the top, work the leaves 2 back away from the collection point, and then around that, add in some more leaves to sort of enclose the space. Now on the solid block, add a fence gate, open the fence gate and place a water source in the back. Then with the setup in front of you like this, make an L shape with the slime blocks and then attach a piece of wall to the top slime block. Then 2 slime blocks back from that piece of wall and another one on top, creating another L shape. And I don't know if it's important, but I'm also digging around the area just to make sure that the slime blocks are not touching anything. Of course, if you build this out in the open, you won't have this issue. Now place a detector rail on top of the base of the L at the top, and it's important that it's facing in this direction. Next, place a minecart on top of it. Now place your TNT under the wall and a coral fan on top of the fence gate or on the slime. And if it's a living one, you need to make sure you wait until it's dead before you use the machine. And finally build up the leaves around this section. After you've done that, you'll need to make your way up onto, if I can do this, that block over there. So we might need to raise the ceiling again. You wouldn't believe how much of this area I've had to continuously dig out in doing this. Also, while we're at it, I did have noted there's a couple of things on the materials list that actually are missing. So for example, the minecart, the TNT, and a couple of other items I can't remember. So I'll do my best to put in everything I can remember, but if there's a couple of my items missing, I do apologise. So from the back of this thing, we're going to go out by 2 blocks and then take out the block in the middle. Then place in a sticky piston. Oh, not that way. Need it to be like that. Then we need another piston on top of that. Again, this normal piston is another thing missing from the kit list. Then work your way over the top of the 2 pistons to this area here and place 2 building blocks below there. Remove the block underneath the pair of pistons and then build this out like this. And once again, I'm going to have to create some more room. So at the moment it should look like this, where you have the TNT encased in the leaves, you've got the minecart, the 2 pistons, a block that comes out to the back, and then 2 blocks that come out from underneath. So we now want to extend this another 2, and then on the 5th one we want to go up 1. So it looks something like this. You've got 4 blocks in between. And now that we've created a bit more space, this is where we're going to have our hopper clocks, which is going to control the release of the TNT. So start by having a comparator facing into that end and then also into that end. Then place a temporary block, grab your hoppers, place a hopper facing into the temporary block, go to the other side, remove the temporary block, and then face a hopper facing back into that hopper. Then add a redstone dust to each end, so 1 there and 1 there. Next, try and lay sticky pistons off the side of the redstone dust, so like that and like that. And then add a redstone block next to this sticky piston. So it looks something like this. Do not put any items in yet. You will blow up the TNT duplicator. Very important. Instead, what you need to do is go back around here, drop down into this area, and then take out all of the pillar blocks that you added. So we're going to pillar back up in order to pillar back down, I guess. So yeah, you'll need to take these out, including the one under the fence gate. I am aware there's no items actually in the hoppers up there. That's right for now. We will address that situation later. We don't want this thing running at this time. What we're going to do now is head over towards the dispenser, where we're going to be going AFK. And if you were standing there and then look at the on-off switch, then count out 6 blocks. So start by tunneling underneath slightly. You should just be able to see the redstone from before going the other way. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once you've counted those out, you want to go up 1, go forwards 1, and then essentially lay another block there, creating another small staircase like this. And then we're going to join it all up with some redstone. And now we're ready to create a redstone torch tower up towards our TNT duplicator, which is actually somewhere in there, but we'll find it. So yeah, the best thing to do is to just pillar up next to it and then just alternately place a solid block with then a torch on top. So if you want to check you have the correct number of torches, you should have 7. So if we pillar back down, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then if we pillar back up, this top torch here should be off. So what we're going to do now is run a path from that top block above that torch round to below the Tnt Duplicator or the hopper clock. So that should take us to here, place a block on that and a redstone torch here. And with the torch in, you now just need to link up with a redstone line to the top of, well, the block above this torch that we just mentioned before. So here comes the moment of truth, testing the Tnt Duplicator. In theory, if we just carefully knock this torch out here and pick it up, and then put the torch back in, we should see a piece of TNT is let loose. Where's the... is that right? Should there not still be TNT there? Maybe I wasn't fast enough if we take this out and try again. And I'm pleased to say that now appears to be working. So if we just click click, you'll see the TNT gets duplicated and pushed down to the bottom. And I can't see any damage either, so that's good. And that now means we can add items to our hopper clock. So generally speaking, depending on the kind of server you are, you can run this to be like 3 items, but it's recommended that if you don't want to cause loads of lags, you add more items in. So I'm going to go for 6, and hopefully that's okay. I might even actually no, let's up it to 8 to be on the safe side. And that now should be it. So all we have to do before we can actually test this thing out is obviously fill up the bone meal chest, which is somewhere around the back here, with bone meal. And we definitely do not have very much for this, so this is not going to get us very far at all. There we are. And then if we start moving around the front, if I can find my way, we simply... oh, no, wasn't meant to do that. All we have to do is turn the farm on, hold right click, and hopefully this is going to work out nicely. So the farm is on, holding right click. Oh, look at it go! Oh, this is exciting. I'm getting a little bit of lag, but not too much. This is very cool. This is very, very cool. What is not so cool, however, is that that's the end of the video. And even worse, I don't have any funny clips or anecdotes to put on the end of this either. I suppose that's my own fault for accidentally turning this into a half-an-hour long redstone tutorial. So just imagine something funny